Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wise Kracks. John Orlando here, and of course I've got the crack man, Mr. Bill Krackomberger. What's going on this week, Bill?
Hey, John, what's going on? Good. Back in Vegas and stationed here for now before I take off for going to go back to East and also going to go to a tournament next week. I like going to the golf tournaments, PGA Tour, so I'm going to be going down to Hilton Head, my favorite place. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, getting ready to do a little travel time, but all else is well. Cool.
Very nice. Very nice. And speaking of golf, let's just tease the guest since we brought it up. We've got a big guest this week. Why don't you tell the nice people who you've brought this week with us?
Legendary caddy Cayce Kerr, who's been on with us before. He's going to come on, and he was out at Augusta yesterday and went to dinner with one of the golfers last night. And he's always got some good scoops and inside information on some stuff that really you can't get anywhere else. So happy to have it and happy for him to be on with us.
Yeah. Now, Crack, the Masters is this weekend. I feel like we just had the Masters.
Yeah, we did. We just had the Masters really in November. But yeah, this is their official time of the Masters, though. April and it's a little different this year. There's not as many fans and stuff, but I got a little pumped up video. Someone sent me a video just yesterday of the Masters, like a pump up video, and how it's coming along here. And when I seen it, I don't know if you can hear the. Can you just hear it?
It has always been a place that transports
and
us.
And then it just shows you,
the portal we pass through from winter to spring.
It's just like the birds singing in the background, and they show the flag, and it's really, really cool. So. I love it though. It's a gentleman's sport. I enjoy watching golf. I know many people find it boring. I enjoy watching. It's funny, golf and baseball. This is the two sports I love to watch, and we're in the midst of them both. So
yeah,
fantastic.
So you mentioned you're back in Vegas. I'm wondering, have you had a chance to go over to the Virgin Casino yet? They're open now.
No, I haven't. I haven't went there yet. I have an open invitation. My buddy Scott Konopinski is the director of marketing there. He invited me over to dinner at Nobu's over there. So if you want to go one night, we'll go to Nobu.
I do want to go.
Yeah. So we'll go to Nobu one night. It's like the Nobu's like the top of the line sushi place for people that don't know. But anyway, so yeah, we'll go one night. The price is right too. Free.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's always fun. Vegas is looking good these days. I don't know if you've had a chance to get out much since you've been back, but the casinos look pretty busy.
Casinos are packed. Listen, I was on a plane last week. I forget what day it was, but I was on a plane last week from Philadelphia to Las Vegas. Wow. I cannot. Every seat was taken. Yeah. Absolutely oversold flights. The town is packed. There was a ton of kids on the plane. I didn't know like what was going on, but now I know more. So I guess what's the bonus money people are getting now? Stimulus. The stimulus, I guess you get $1,400 per kid, and they were on the plane. So it's good to see. I guess the money is going into play. Unfortunately, I think it should be taken care of on kids and family and things you need in the house and whatever bills you may have. But listen, we all know that's not how it happens all the time. It gets spent on Vegas vacations and big screen TVs at Walmart. So
especially after being cooped up for the past year, you almost can't blame the people.
Yes, I understand. I do. Yeah. So yeah, these planes are full. Vegas weekends, wall to wall people, man. So it was March Madness. Now it's just. I think this is going to be the busiest summer on record for Vegas and any kind of tourist destinations. People have been just cooped up inside. Can't wait to get out. Like you said, John, I think the places like the Disneylands, Disney Worlds. I don't even know if they're open yet, but I'm just saying. I think they are. Or they would be packed once the times come here. The Easter break we're just getting over that, but I think every weekend in Vegas is going to be really jam packed.
Yeah. And you just mentioned March Madness. We just saw a very exciting championship game.
Yes. Well, the championship game wasn't as exciting as the previous Gonzaga UCLA game, which everyone went crazy at.
Which is always the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
The road to get there is almost more exciting than the World Series or the Super Bowl. It's like the playoffs.
Baylor. Listen, Gonzaga just had no legs. Baylor was the true champion from the start, the tip off till the end of the game, and it was really a great basketball season that we got through here because we didn't know last year there was no March Madness, so this year we had a full March Madness, and it was cool. Now we're getting into baseball.
Yeah, before we get into baseball, which I always want to get into, didn't I read that someone bet something like $700,000 on Gonzaga? Did you see that?
770,000 money line versus UCLA when the game went to overtime. Gonzaga, I should say UCLA had a chance to win in regulation, and then in overtime they tied it up, and Gonzaga had hit like almost a half court shot to win the game. So there was a couple bets. There was one at 270,000 at the South Point money line, and then there was 770,000 at another casino in town on money line. So those guys had to be sweating the money, man.
Had to be.
Oh God, it's just so crazy. Big money.
Yeah, and so baseball season is underway, which makes us both very happy. Last week, I was close to making a pretty cool prediction. I don't know if you realize this or not, but I said the Blue Jays were going to win their first 3 games, and they ended up taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Yeah, as dogs, by the way.
As dogs, yeah.
Great, great, yeah. I love underdogs, so that's you're absolutely right. Your Dodgers, after the first, I think they lost the first day, right?
Yep.
But then they've come back. I don't know. I actually don't know what the record is.
I think 5 in a row, maybe.
Oh, so they 5 in a row. Yep, 5. So they won 5 games since then, and it looks like they're on their way to being who we all knew they were going to be.
Yeah, they look so good. Clayton Kershaw, you could almost argue, should be our number 5 starter, not our number 1 starter. That's how good the Dodgers look.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's really amazing. I love baseball too. I'm born and bred baseball fan back east, just like you are out west here.
Yeah.
It's just, I watched 2 games already this year, but it always brings me down a trip down nostalgia lane. Baseball was my first sport of love. Like I said, it's still my favorite sport to attend. My father and I had such great conversations. And to even go further, my grandfather used to always, he was a giant Yankee fan. And I remember he lived in a town in northern Jersey, a little town called Cayce in Middlesex County, New Jersey. And he was telling me, my grandfather was born in 1910. I remember him telling me as a kid, when we went down to this little field in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, and he said Babe Ruth was on this field called Copperworks Field. And he said Babe Ruth used to come here all the time and give little performances for the kids and sign autographs and stuff. It was different. Baseball players were different back then. It wasn't all the me mentality. So not that I'm saying that. Listen, we've had some great baseball guests on the show, but it was different. Babe Ruth was yes, he was a big ham and stuff, loved the camera, but he was just such a people person himself. Maybe it was because he was I think he was he was in Baltimore, and there's some great stories on him though, and how he was, I don't know if he was adopted or if he was just, I know he came from a real tough background, and he gave back a lot. So, the Yankees and my family goes back, many ways. However, my loyalty is not to the Yankees. I very rarely bet on them. I'm looking to bet opposite of them a lot of times because they're so much overvalued. You get so much value betting against teams, the marquee teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees. I say you get them with so much value, but yet, like you just said, the Dodgers won 5 in a row. So you'd be playing catch up, even if you're getting 2-1. So, but it's a grind, though. Baseball's a grind. It's a successful grind. I've never had a losing baseball season. My overall betting strategy for the most part is, like I said, I won't lay the big favorites. Probably 95% of my bets are literally the dogs. And I say dogs. I shouldn't say that. 95% I say dogs. That's the way it used to be. I'll bet favorites up to $1.40, $1.50. And even I know the sharp guys, the syndicate guys, they'll even lay up to $1.80. So it's different today, I guess, than it was back years ago. But it's very, very rare that I'll ever lay over like $1.60 or $1.80 on a game. I've never really relied on the home advantage of baseball, unlike every other sport where college sports, college football, college basketball, the home team crowd means so much more than a baseball game. So
let me ask you this, in terms of strategy,
Sure.
You're probably going to hate me on this one.
No.
I just want to talk about the Dodgers. Okay. Sure. Probably because I know them the best, but their lineup is so stacked with offense and their pitching is so stellar. I'm personally okay giving the -1.5 to bring the odds more in my favor. Bad bet in your eyes?
I'm not gonna hate you, but yeah, though that's a
really,
yeah, that's a losing that's a losing gamble, laying a 1.5 on a big marquee team like that over time. Now I say that any year could be different. You can have an enigma. I mean, it could happen, but typically laying the 1.5, you're laying 1.5 runs. Which let me tell you how many games are decided by 1 run. Oh boy, forget it. So it's not something I recommend for anybody. But John, you're John Orlando. You do what you want there, buddy.
I'm going to track it this year. I'm going to track how many times I do it.
I would really like to know
what
that record is. It's pretty simple. You can just look back at every game to know. But when you're laying a 2-1, when you're laying a big favorite, let's look today. Let's just look. Let's just see. Let's see what the Dodgers are today.
Because I feel like the Dodgers can't win a 1-run game anyway. So with Kenley Jansen closing, so I feel like if they're gonna win by 2.
So today they're laying $1.80 on the game, but yet even laying the run and a half, you still have to lay $1.20. Oh God, I am just not doing that. I am not.
You
doing
don't like
that
it?
No, I'm not laying a run and a half on. Not that I wouldn't in certain situations, but I am more going to stay away from the marquee teams and laying a run and a half. But I also bet a lot on totals too. I should talk about that before I forget. Okay. I'm a totals guy. I love betting totals. I think the edge on totals is slightly more than that of sides, even though those money line sides. And I'll tell you something, John, something that I never talk about publicly, but think about this too. I will bet some parlays if I like a certain team and I lean to or like the total also that way. And what I mean by this is this. The road team and the over, or the home team and the under, is kind of correlated because you don't have to play those 3 extra. If you bet like Dodgers and under and they're home. So it's kind of a minuscule correlation there, because if the Dodgers are winning, they're not going to have to bat the bottom of the 9th inning. Therefore, they're only going to have to play 8 full innings of offense compared to the other team. Same thing with the road. If I'll bet a road team, I'll also, if I like the over, I'll put them together in a parlay, because it's the same exact scenario there. Hopefully the road team's winning, and they're the last at the bottom of the 9th, the home team tries to come back with some runs of their own. So that's just a little.
I like that.
The proof's in the pudding. Try to bet it. At some of the sports books do take it, yes, but some of the sports books, like some of the sharper ones, may not take it. But I bet one today, so I noticed they did take it here in town. So I'm happy about that. But and the 3 biggest factors when betting a total for me are like the starting pitcher, the matchup between the starting pitchers, of course, the weather, the plate umpires. There's a couple of other things too, though. In certain venues like Wrigley Field, Yankee Stadium, the wind has a huge effect on the under or the over. Actually, I should say the under or over. I've seen totals go from 8.5 down to 7 based on the projected wins at the time. So I always try to remember those key numbers too in baseball. I can't tell you and stress how important the 7 and the 9 are. Because games are 4-3, 5-4. The odd numbers of 8 are not as affected as so you want to make sure. What I'm trying to say is, let's say I'll go 8.5 over minus $1.20, or I'll go over 9 minus $1.10 or minus $1.05. I'll definitely go over the 8.5 before I go over the 9. It's worth laying the extra 20 cents to get a win instead of a push. Like I said, based on those kind of scores, those odd scores. So line shopping, very important. Oh man, without a doubt, you have to have more than one sports book to bet at. And you also want to make sure you have 10-cent line places you're dealing with. What that means is a sports book that has minus $1.40. The comeback on the dog is plus $1.30. Now, you know how big I am on those East Coast books, the Jersey books. But however, it's the Euro way. They do not like money lines. They do not like money line bettors because their money lines there are absolutely ridiculous. Just to give you an example, on a baseball game, like I just said here in Vegas, they'll have minus 140 plus $1.30. That same game at a place back in New Jersey, they'll have so the same game that's minus 140 here will be minus 150 there. The comeback here is plus $1.30. It's less than that there. It's plus $1.26. It's ridiculous. So you're laying more and you're taking less. They do not like money line bettors at a lot of these Euro books, and it kind of bothers me, but it is what it is. Just stick to shopping with the 10-cent lines and have as many outs as you can to get the best numbers at all times. So
and you mentioned some of those factors. One of the things you said was wind and stadium like a Wrigley Field, whatever. What about Colorado, where the home run balls always seem to be flying out of there like crazy? Is that a case where it's always take the over, or is there a lot of value sometimes in the under based on pitching matchups?
Yep. When Colorado came into Major League Baseball, you're right. The betting market did not catch up with that. The bookmakers did not really catch that at first. They thought it was going to be higher scoring, but didn't realize how much higher scoring. Since then, though, the bookmakers have caught up, and the lines now, the totals now are really high, the highest in baseball. So it's not unusual to see 11, 12, 13 in Colorado as a starting line, though. But very good point. You're right. At the beginning, it was like that at the beginning. The teams did score 12, 13, 14, and the totals were 10. Just looking at today's game, the line is 11.5 today. So, by the way, for a while there, it was 13 and 14. And it actually, baseball, the numbers caught up and the unders were coming out. So it's the more line now, the more median line there is probably 11.5 to 12.5 now.
Crack, I love when we get the inside your mind type of content from you. I love it. I know the fans love it, and the people listening love it. So it's a perfect time for me to remind everyone just to download the Crack Wins app or go to crackwins.com. All of this information that he gives week in and week out is all inside the app. It's on the website. Check it out. Download it today. It's on Apple. It's on Google. And start making money this baseball season, guys, because this is really your prime time, isn't it, Crack?
I like baseball's been we started out pretty good too, where we have a winning record. I think we're up 3 units so far in baseball. But also don't forget golf now. Our PGA Tour matchups are second to none. I'll bet just as much on a matchup as I will on a baseball game or a college basketball game. The golf's been fantastic. So I think we're the only service that provides consistent long-term winning across several sports. So the closing line value is unbelievable too. People realize that when I bet something or when I give something out for the Crack Wins guys, they get the best closing line value. And yeah, it's been good. It's been a good season in college basketball. We hit over 60% for the year. Very happy with that, and looking forward to continue the winning streaks in baseball and golf.
Yeah,
and NBA totals. Yep.
Yeah, so check it out, guys. Crack Wins app, download it today or go to crackwins.com. And also, Crack, you just brought up the closing lines. No better place to find all that type of info. Also, if you head over to WSN.com, they've got all of the bonuses. You've really tipped me off to the bonuses that are out there at all these online casinos, or even some of the sports books that you can go into and get sign up bonuses. I won't mention there's one in town right now that has a bonus. I won't mention them because I know they're not on your A list, but the WSN.com info has been really helpful for me since you putting that on my radar screen. And I know you've got thoughts on WSN.
Yep. One of the really cool things I like about doing the show is I get to promote a site that I actually like to go to all the time, WSN.com. It's a gold mine for advantage gamblers and just squares alike. It's got everything, the articles, the links, the promos for all the best online sports books. Some of the bonuses they have running there are better than anywhere else. I can't even find any some of the bonuses there shock me. But now I went to WSN today. I'm looking at the site right now. There is a really good article. Where can I bet on MLB games legally? Now, that's the title of the article. But that being said, if you open it up, I mean, it has every single jurisdiction and every single sports book. Top of the thing here, just to read some of in the article. How to bet on Major League Baseball online in New Jersey. And then it goes how to bet in Colorado and Illinois, such as that. But just looking at New Jersey, and look at the WSM bonuses. DraftKings, $1,000. FanDuel, $500. Fox Bet, $500. PointsBet, $200. I'll just keep on going. Actually, PointsBet's got $1,000 in free bets. So yeah, but now you got to go through these links on WSM.com. I'll read the rest of them real quick. BetMGM, Caesars, Unibet, 888 Sports, Golden Nugget, Bet365, Resorts, Hard Rock, William Hill. All these places are on WSM.com. You claim now, click on the bonus there. The bonuses and the promos that are there are second to none. There's stuff here that is not on other sites. So like I said, WSM.com, definitely go there and check it out.
Okay, Crack, it's that time to bring on the guest. But I think in this case, I think you need to do the honors this week.
Cool.
Who we got.
Thanks. Sure. We have legendary PGA Tour caddy Cayce Kerr. I say legendary because this guy is caddying over 1,000 tournaments, 30 Masters in a row for 14 players that have won majors, 9 in the Hall of Fame, 7 former number 1 players in the world he's had. I can go on and on and on. Welcome, Cayce Kerr. Thanks for coming on, my buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Craig. Good to see you, and happy to be on the show. And more importantly, ready to get the Masters show on the road tomorrow. Exciting. Awesome.
You were down there, right? You were down in you were down in Augusta. Now you're driving to Ernie Els. You told me at his house, I guess. And
I'm driving. I was there yesterday on site, and now I'm en route to Jupiter, Florida, getting ready for the tournament next week in Naples, Florida, with Ernie on the Champions Tour. So exciting stuff.
Awesome. What was it like down there, Cayce, down in Augusta? You said you had dinner with one of the previous, of course, British Tour champion. Not only that, Cayce was on a show of mine years ago and actually picked this person to win at like 100-1, Shane Lowry. So what was it like? What was it like down there? And then what was your dinner like?
Well, it was real quiet, not a lot of people. The course looked great. The trees were in bloom, the azaleas and the dogwoods and the wisteria. Walking around, bringing back some memories, talking to a couple guys. Ran into Shane on the driving range, and yes, he invited me over for dinner last night. And we had a good meal. He's got a chef, and his whole team was there, and we just sat around telling stories about Augusta.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome.
As I can do sometimes.
Does Shane know that you gave him out at 100-1 on my show back then? Does he know?
Oh, yeah. A couple of guys sent him the video.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Yeah. Well, he asked me last night. He said, "Did you pick me for the Masters?"
Oh, man. Wow. He's probably 100-1 now, too. I don't have the odds on him right now, but yeah, so cool.
Cayce, you've been on the bag for around 30 Masters. Can you tell us what makes it so special from your side of the ropes?
You mean inside or outside?
Yeah, inside.
Oh, inside. Yeah, because yesterday I was outside. Well, being I was outside yesterday, I did take a photograph and put it on my Instagram, and one of the responses I got, "Hey, you're supposed to have one of those white jumpsuits on and be inside the ropes." One thing about being outside the ropes yesterday made me more appreciate being inside the ropes and more connected to the player and more connected to the course and more connected to the tournament. So I think from being where I was yesterday, definitely feel disconnected. And then when you're disconnected, you're like, I want to be back in there. You know, it was like, man, I just, and you always, as a people in sports, just give me one more chance at it. Just give me one. And I'm like, just get me in there one more time. You know, I mean, it's just one of those places that the passion for the game, the first major of the year, it's just exciting stuff. And not to mention the history of the place.
Yeah. And well, let's talk about this year, at the Masters. What are some of the nuances that you've noticed? I mean, obviously, like what's the deal with the fans and the weather? And is there as much excitement as normal, even though it feels like you were just there?
Well, so I'm glad you asked me that. Some of the things I noticed yesterday that was totally out of character was there were no grandstands. So all the famous Augusta roars that come from different levels of volume, they're all gone. There's no par 3 tournament, and we used to be able to take people to the front of the clubhouse and take their picture. You couldn't do that. I bought a bunch of swag, and you had to carry it around. Normally you could check it in, so I had to ship it. And then the fact that, when I walked in there, they made sure that everybody had a mask. And so you could still feel remnants of the pandemic and social distancing because of what everyone in the world has been through. So you don't really, you're glad to be there, but there's very little people there. There was no line to get in the merchandise tent. There's very few people in there. So it didn't have the buzz. I was mentioned to a friend, one of the common statements in the merchandise tent, if you and I went in there, is, excuse me. There was no excuse me yesterday. And when I got to the cash register, there was no line. And it was like, you just know that something's going on in the world that's just not what it normally would be. So next year, I'm so looking forward to it because hopefully everyone in the world will be back in action.
But I assume it's still just as exciting to be there, isn't it?
Well, walking around it definitely is exciting. But I did mention to a couple friends of mine, like Thursday, tournament day, that's the day that it's exciting. It's like going to baseball and watching them warm up. You're like, it's fun, but when the game clock, is ready to go, that's when, the focus is there, all the kidding aside, it's business. It's showtime. Let's go. So I'm excited about tomorrow to, given my selections this week.
Oh, good. Well, that's my next question. That's what, we're Wise Kracks. That's what the people want to know. The people want to know, DJ is the favorite. It's going to be impossible, I think next to impossible to repeat. Followed by DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, John Rahm. So these guys are, boy, I tell you, for the money, they're so low of odds. It almost shocks me how low they are. But so what do you think this week, Cayce? I'll be able to give you some of the odds from Circa here in Las Vegas because it seems to me like Circa has the best odds. So they're like a 12% hold, which is really low for this sport. So what are you looking at this week? I'll give you the odds on those guys.
Well, let's start with you got to lay 165 to get back 100 if you pick a USA player. So that should tell you right there. And I love international golfers around the world and caddied for many of them. But this year, I got to tell you, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, DeChambeau. Those three guys right there. Another guy right behind him, I would say, who's tough as nails. You'd want him to go to battle with you is Patrick Reed. And then, those four guys, I think this week, as you know, the cream rises to the top. The Augusta National has the greens right now firm as concrete because that's the only defense the course has because of the technology. And as far as these guys are bombing it out there, so if they get the green super firm and super hard, then that's where the course will have a little bit of a defense. And so that's the only defense that course has because of technology. So when the forecast is for a little bit of rain throughout the week, it could soften up the greens, bring more players into the mix than normal. But coming down the stretch on Sunday, I like those four guys. I think the USA flag will be at the tippy top. The only guy that I like for low European is Paul Casey. He's been knocking at the door. He's got the game to win. The pressure, he's been dealing with it over the years. He's come a little bit close A couple of years ago, I picked him. He shot like 80 the first round. He's showing some form. I think he's mature. I really like him for low European. And, he could be my dark horse of the week as far as possibly being in contention coming down. John Rahm, everyone's mentioned John. John's a great player. He's got many under-round par scores at Augusta. I think John needs a little bit more time to mature around there, get his emotions in check. And like Sergio, it took him a while to totally not want it so bad. Rory wants it so bad. It makes it more difficult because they put more pressure on themselves. I like those guys to be around. And look, it's golf. It's gambling. You never can tell. But me, I think the USA flag will be putting their arm in the jacket on Sunday evening of Augusta National.
Awesome.
That's
Let me give you some of these odds. That was a great synopsis there. Dustin Johnson 9-1. Jordan Spieth is the number 2 pick almost in every single casino and sportsbook. He's a fan favorite right now at 12-1. DeChambeau, Thomas, Rahm, all about 12-1. Rory 18-1. He's cost me a lot of money. I'm rooting against him just from a personal standpoint. Now, here's what I want to say to you. I actually bet. I bet some futures. Futures is normally a bad bet, it's a sucker bet. But if you have so many places to bet like myself, you can actually shop around and bring that hold down and make it a decent bet. I actually bet Patrick Reed he's 40-1. So I thought 40-1 shot.
Great value.
40-1. Now you mentioned just now Paul Casey. He's 50-1. Think that's
great value.
Really? Okay, good. Well, there's some. I love hearing that because I'm going to bet even more on that as soon as this is over. But so those guys are some good value. Let me ask you. I'm going to give you someone else that I bet, and I want to see what you think. This is just someone from ESPN. I don't want to say his name, but a big personality at ESPN. He liked. Is it Cam Smith? Is that his first name, Cam?
Oh, the Australian guy, because he finished second last year.
Yeah, so I guess that's the reason why he liked him. But he's also 50-1. So he said might be a good. That was his. He gave me that one, and one of our friends who introduced us together, he likes Matsuyama at 55-1. Just to let you know.
I would love to see an Asian golfer win. I think it'd be great for golf in the world. The issue I have is there's just so much pressure on them because everyone wants them to win in that side of the world. So they got pressure to win the Masters, and then they got additional pressure because of their culture. I mean, as much as I think it would be great for golf in the world, the amount of pressure that's on those guys, it's just asking a little too much. But I definitely think someday it could happen. And let's point out one thing that's important. I've said this before. I think someday there'll be an amateur that wins because they've shown some great form, nothing to lose, and a couple times they peeked up on that board, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think an amateur could win here.
Wow.
Sometime.
Last two, Cayce. These are bombs. Now listen, when I say a peanut bet, I'll literally throw, $20, $50 on something like this because they're 110 and 150-1. Do you think a guy like Connors at 110-1 or Horschel at 150-1, are they worth even a sawbuck or enough that I usually spend on a sandwich or something? Is it worth something?
Well, I think your answer is yes. If you look at Trevor Everman, he's a green jacket winner. Look at the odds on him before he entered the tournament. And also look at Jeff Ogilvy, who won the U.S. Open 2006 at Winged Foot. He was 100-1.
And you had him. You picked him back then, right?
He was one of my selections.
That's right.
Wow. But they are good value bets. And the reason why, let's say one of those guys coming down the stretch is in a playoff with a guy, and the other guy's Dustin Johnson, and just for whatever reason, he happens to hit it out of bounds, and the other guy wins. And one, because the other guy beat him, the other guy beat himself. So those good value bets you have to snuff out, and you got to remember also, half the battle is getting to the Masters. The other half is performing. those guys that are in that tournament, and all due respect to everybody in the field, they play at the highest level. They're not good golfers. They're the greatest to play the game. And as everyone knows, Fuzzy Zoeller used to say, that's why we play all 18. You never know what can happen on that golf course come Thursday through Sunday. And the longest walk in golf, no matter how you're hitting it on the range, is but when you leave that range and you go to the first tee, that's the longest walk in golf. Because no matter how you were hitting on that range, now we're on stage. It's time to perform.
Awesome. That's great.
He's got me fired up.
I'm
I'm
betting some more money on this right now when we're off air. Cayce, I'm looking. I never got the good view of that van before we let you go. You look like in the background there, you have like a coat closet, and look at the top of you, all these wooden gadgets. It's like Mission Control. You're Star Trek Enterprise there. That is a cool van, man. And can you tell us all how many miles you got on that sucker now?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Today, we're at 650,735.
Unbelievable.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, there is a closet in the back, and it's the reason it's there is there's many costumes there that I have to put on. The caddy costume, occasionally, I'll have a business meeting, so I got to look casually nice. It just depends what the venue is. But the van, oh my God, it's for 650,735 miles. And I can tell you, White Lightning is running like a locomotive.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute, who makes that van? I feel like they need to sponsor you and give you a brand new one.
Really?
No, I wouldn't take one. Crack will tell you. Ernie and VJ, they both offered to buy me new ones. I said they just sit in the driver. This is the Chevrolet, and I can tell you it is fantastic. I love it. People have been wanting to buy. I got every gadget in the world in here, and it's my office. It's where I do
Has
my
Ernie,
best thing.
I know you've had a lot of golfers in that. Matter of fact, Casey's caddies from everyone from VJ to Ernie to Fred Couples, Payne Stewart, Arnold Palmer. I can go on and on. Have some of those guys have been in that van with you, right? Has VJ been in there? Has Ernie been in there? Fred Couples? These guys were in that van with you. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? This van here, the one I'm in, it's been down Magnolia Lane. Now, that's even more funny.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, of course, Fred rode with me for 3 weeks in a row in the passenger seat. So it's pretty funny. And everyone knows about it because how's the van running? It's like me. It's still going strong, baby.
Wow. You were great, Cayce. We really appreciate you coming on. This was a great little trip down memory lane. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and pulling over, and you look great too. And you look great. And you when you said before about being in that tent over at Augusta, the merchandise tent, people don't know how it's a legendary place where everyone wants to get a Masters shirt and be questioned. Were you at the Masters? Were you there? Where'd you get the shirt from? So that is usually it's such a pain to get in there. Like Casey said, excuse me is the two biggest words in there. So it's a little bit different this year, but we'll look forward to next year. One of these years, I'm going to join you down there too. One of these years, I will be down there.
Open invitation. Thanks for having me. Great to be on the show, and thanks for the support. And root for Ernie next week in Naples, Florida. And you guys enjoy the Masters week, and let's the games begin.
Beautiful.
Crack, my friends are going to light me up when they watch this episode and they hear what I'm about to say. I think Cayce Kerr has turned me into a golf fan. What do you think of that?
Wow. All right. Good for you. This is the week to do it, Masters week.
His passion and his energy when he tells stories and stuff, it gets me all fired up.
All right. Yeah, no, he does. He actually made me bet a couple extra bucks on a couple things based on him liking it, the passion, as you say. Yes.
Yeah. Did you already make the bets like as he was doing it? You went on.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, during the break. Yeah.
I have a question for you about that. I heard you say is it worth throwing, $20 or some peanut money on some of those like 50 to 1 or 100 to 1?
Sure.
Would you ever go just hell with it, $500 on one of those and just, or no?
I don't like future market betting because it's a double-digit hold. So if I bet a sports bet, straight bet, just for the average public, it's a 4.5% hold if you bet either side of, let's say, a football game. Well, a golf future is going to be double digits. It's about, the circuit here in town only holds 12% for Masters, but normally these sports books, other ones are still holding 25, 35, 50% hold compared to 4.5%. And a guy like myself that shops for lines, I can bring the hold down on a baseball game or a football game to almost even, 0. Whereas even on a future bet, I could probably bring it down to single digits under 10%, but it's still a bad bet in general. But I will throw some of these peanut bets on these long shots based on, but not a $500 bet. I'll bet $100 or something, $50 or $20 on something that's 200 to 1 or something, just to have a little rooting action, a little fun. But I don't want rooting action and fun. I want positive EV, positive expected value. So for my particular bankroll, $20 or $50 or $100 is not going to hurt me, but that may cut into someone else's bankroll if they're betting that kind of money, their gambling bankroll, where it could affect their long-term gambling outcome.
Right. Okay, well, Crack, another week has come and gone, but before we go and sign off here, I want to give out a little UFC pick, and hopefully you can get behind this one too. The value may not be there for a guy like yourself, Crack, because there's a UFC fighter named Julian Marquez, old friend of the show, who's stepping back in this weekend. He's going to be fighting Smiling Sam Alvey, kind of a UFC veteran. He's been in some wars, Sam. But Julian's coming off a very big win, as you remember, maybe about a month or two ago, and he's minus 190, I believe, right now. But I'm pretty good at picking these fights, Crack, and I'm here to tell you, Julian Marquez is going to finish Smiling Sam. If you don't like the line of the minus 190, I think this fight is under 2.5 rounds, under 1.5 rounds. Yeah.
I'm looking at the line right now. There's actually minus 175 at Westgate on him, minus 180 at William Hill. So I do see some 2-to-1s though, but you shop around, you can get them for, oh boy, I hate laying big money on fights, but I know. However, though, this is your guy, and he was on a guest on our show, real nice guy. I'm rooting for him. Absolutely.
Okay. I like it. And Crack, next week, I'm not going to say the name, but we've got a really good show next week, Crack. I'll give a little hint. It's baseball related, and it's baseball royalty as far as I'm concerned. I know you know who it is, but
awesome.
So look
forward to it. Great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
All right, man. Let's do this again next week, Crack.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, John. Thanks for the fans out there and the people that watch and listen to us every week. We really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your day to watch us.
We'll see you guys next week on Wise Kracks.